November 3rd began an election, and now the results, for better or worse, are in dispute. And one side seems to be gloating and saying that the other side should just accept. Sorry, I had to take a I had to take a drink of water. I was feeling a little dry, so I took a quick drink of water. And if I can continue again, one side is feeling very cheated. And there are competing protests. One portion of the protest is Stop the Steal. And I think the other portion of the protest is something akin to, let's see what they want to almost accept the count or accept the results is another portion. And they are going to be protesting this issue. I mean, I guess you accept the count. I think on Friday there's going to be an accept the count. Now, the one thing becomes clear if you follow politics or you're a political junkie, that will become rather clear to you is that the right seems to always want to engage in debate, and the left wants to shut down and censor and even punish, and the left has control over much of the establishment. And I believe that the right sometimes tries to appease the left with certain talking points. And it's kind of sad that the information age has turned into the age of censorship. I believe that we are all adults here, or most of us are adults, and that when we become adults, we are able to hear all kinds of information and not react crazy, although that may or may not be true, depending on who you talk to. Of course, any instance of police brutality sometimes is shown ad nauseum, or supposed police brutality is often shown ad nauseum, and people respond and react to it. As a matter of fact, for a long time, any debate on certain issues was completely squashed. And not only was it squashed, the people who brought it up, even in the most diplomatic way, were canceled, and the cancel culture left. And I want to backtrack here. It seems like there was an entire George Floyd reaction, or the death of George Floyd had a reaction which started a kind of a censorship reaction. And it seems like anytime there's an incident where the so-called right, or police, or whatever is seen as racism happens, conservatives are punished. And I mean, the time before George Floyd, we had Charlottesville, and they shut down a lot of sites. And I think that's also when they, to a degree, really began to shadow ban and censor. And it was primarily going in one direction. And what I observe and what I see is that the left, the right even tries to appease the left. And when that stops, right now that's stopping happening. The right is becoming aware that the left does not want to debate. They want to primarily shut down, on average. Nothing is 100 percentile. There are times when the right does not want to debate the left, and there are times when the right acts foolish. But on average, the right does not use violence to suppress speech it does not like. That is primarily coming from the left. And the one thing that we need, if there's any kind of olive branch, if people are going to accept an olive branch, there has to be honest debate and honest discussion on a number of topics. And these topics cannot be filtered through. And that's one of the things that I hope happens, because right now, primarily, we're not talking to each other. We are talking at one another. And both sides don't want to talk. And I think a country and a nation lives or dies by talking to each other and making compromise. I certainly could be wrong, and maybe there are things you cannot compromise on. But right now, there seems to be no open dialogue and no compromise on either end. I was going to get into the exception to the riots becoming normalized, and the violence to suppress speech has also become normalized, and censorship has also become normalized. And I don't want it either way, whether it is on the right or the left. Censorship is not a good thing, and we should always strive for polite conversation, as polite as can be, and be able to examine facts. And it doesn't seem like much of society wants to. I think there are portions of society that does, but they seem to be drowned out by the extremist and the fanatics. And fanaticism is never a good thing. So anyway, this is Brian with Transparency and Merit. If you like the show, please subscribe. I know I put my show on Facebook pages that maybe shouldn't have been on there. I do want to have open and honest dialogue with all kinds of people. I put it on a Stoic Brotherhood page. I just, it's kind of an olive branch because I see that America seems to be becoming less of a stoic country and a more emotional country. And I don't see that necessarily as a good thing. So this is Brian with Transparency and Merit signing off. And remember, like and subscribe and share the show, and leave a comment down below, particularly if you disagree with what I've said. Thank you.